All-Pro JAFFos, ball out Pro Bowl, Tony Romo, 40-yard dash, boy, don't be slow-mo. Get on the court, boy, I'm in go. Outside in the sun like Elliot Kobo. I'm running fast, LA de la Cruz. Turn on the JAFFos, get my news. 7FL doing good, how I knew. All-Pro JAFFo, the All-Pro, Jump Talk Sports. They speak fast, you talk smack, you get sacked. Come tune in, sit in chat, sport you like, they speak all that.
Hey, yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome another episode of the All-Pro JAFFos, bringing you the highly elevated sports talk for the highly elevated sports fan. 5-year anniversary show, and look who it is, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know who we are. That's no problem. But you also know who this man is. One of the most cherished guests that we've had on this show since the very beginning. Has always found some sort of way to be able to give us a little bit of time to just kind of hang back and talk some ball and tell some stories in the process. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys know him as Coach Zo, but better known to everybody else, the running backs coach and the assistant head coach for the University of Arizona Wildcats. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Coach Alonzo Carter. How are you, Coach?
I'm blessed, brother. How y'all doing?
They're doing good. Five years running now, so can't complain. Still got some pretty good relationships that we've been keeping intact, and then new ones that we're growing and building. So appreciate you for giving. I think the last time you were with us was the 4th-year anniversary show, so we might need to make this. So every year we come on, we get that annual appearance from Coach Zo.
It's been great, man. Y'all been supportive. I love coming on here, having conversation, real candid conversation. So let's get after it.
Absolutely, Coach. I just wanted real quick. It's not every day that it's very difficult, especially with coaching changes and things going on with relationships that we have with the schools, and then going with coaches and stuff that we've known at one spot, then moving off to another. The transformation process, because the last time you were talking to us, you were the coach, running backs coach, assistant head coach over there at San Jose State, and now in the Big 12, Arizona, a lot more with the NIL, a lot more with the conference. There's just a whole lot more things moving. What's the difference that you notice, like the biggest difference moving from being in the Mountain West to now moving into a Power 5 conference?
Well, the Mountain West is, to me, one of the top group of 5 conferences in the country. Having the pleasure of being at San Jose State and watching us go from last place to first place, 3 consecutive bowls, Mountain West Championship. Our last year we tied for first place. Regular season should have been in the championship game, but we ain't gonna get into that. 3-way tie for first. But just the bigger bodies, man. When you go into a Big 12, you're talking Texas, Florida, Utah, Colorado. You're talking some schools that traditionally where you can find players that are from the South. There's more players from the South, a lot of players up front with the O-line and the D-line, just big bodies, a lot more team speed. And so you have to adjust, you have to play. And the football is always going to be the football. But I think going into this season coming up, now having that full year to see how the conference rolls. There were a couple of games we let get away. We should have been at least 7-5 or 6-6 minimum in a bowl, but we let a couple of games get away. We did have a huge top 15 win against Utah at Utah, a very good team that traditionally has a great program. So they came as well from the Pac-12 along with Colorado and us and Arizona State. So we just now going into year 2, just knowing what we need to do, understanding the whole landscape, playing against just teams like Kansas State and TCU and Baylor, and now we're going to play Kansas, Central Florida, all those schools, Cincinnati. It's a lot of different schools that have a different look to what you're used to seeing. And traditionally, those would be teams you would play in a preseason or in a bowl game. Well, you playing them teams every week.
Yeah.
You know, so top to bottom, the Big 12 is tough, man. It's a real tough conference. A large portion of the teams made it to a bowl, and it was tough, man. Whether it be Houston, you know, beating, you know, the week before Houston had beat TCU, and then we beat Houston, then TCU beat us. So, you know, it's just a lot of competitive balance in the conference, you know, and teams. Then you add a team like BYU, which came in the year before. You know, they're a very well coached team, real physical team. So just trying to match the physicality and make sure our team speed matches that team speed, and let the football be the football, because we have a lot of good players. We're well coached, led by Coach Brennan, and we'll be fine. Going to year 2, I'm excited.
We've had no doubt since you guys have made the move. Essentially, you know, damn near the entire coaching staff from San Jose State moved on from there to Arizona. So seeing basically everybody, you know, kind of come up at the same time, this new level, new challenge, you know, essentially trying to, you know, do and replicate the success that you guys had out here at San Jose State at a different level. When you look at, I guess, atmosphere wise, and not at all am I knocking the Mountain West or anything else like that. I've always had respect for the Mountain West, top to bottom. Boise State, Hawaii, always been some of my
Yes.
favorite teams and stuff like that to be able to watch, especially living down in the Bay Area for a long period of time, being able to watch all of those teams rotate in and out. There was a lot of really good squads, you know, coming out of the Mountain West. But when we're going into something like the Big 12, like you said, it is kind of a whole different monster. There's different atmospheres, you know, more of the South, more of the Midwest, and
Yes.
everything coming down into these types of atmospheres that, and just being completely honest, the Mountain West didn't necessarily have in comparison. So
Right.
now with NIL and the atmosphere and everything, how difficult is it for a coaching staff to be able to compete in this type of atmosphere with essentially free agency being every single year, and the different, like I said, atmospheres that you guys are playing with now, especially with year 1 under your belt?
Well, you hit it on the nose. The fan base on the road in the Big 12, you're talking 50,000 plus per game. You know, every game is rocking, every game. And even the schools that came over from the Pac-12, Utah, like I mentioned, rocking. You know, it was a night game, blackout. They had on all black. The fans had on all black. I seen one person in the sign had a sign saying "Welcome to Hell." He was like, "Whoa!" It was tough. I mean, you playing against some
Something
crowd,
about the all black uniforms that
all
just
black,
turned, like,
blackout. They had
every
black
team turns
everything.
into
Yeah, it was
just some
crazy.
sort of monster.
And even when we went to Central Florida, it was raining. Still sold out senior day. You know, TCU senior day, 50,000 fans. So it's different when you going into these places. Friday night against Kansas State, nationally televised game, 50,000 plus fans just on top of you.
Yeah.
You got to get used to that. We had Fox Noon to kick off against BYU. You know, it's packed, you know, just to the rim. So it's different. It's fun. It's a great experience. And even our home games, 50, you know, averaging close to 50,000, you know, with the Zona Zoo right behind us. You know, that's our energy. We get our energy from them. And let's not forget about the rival game against ASU.
Yep.
You know, that's always going to be crazy. So I think the biggest thing was just going into the Big 12, knowing what you're walking into, knowing that NIL does exist in most Power 4, but I still say Power 5 because the Pac-12 will be back next year. Programs are going to be, you know, competitive when it comes to that part of it. We try not to focus on that stuff because we want people that want to be here in Tucson. If you love football, and this is a place you think you can see yourself playing, those are the players we want to be, that we want here. We're not going. We don't want people, as they would say, chasing the bag. You know, if that's what you're about, you're probably not going to fit here. We do understand there is business when it comes to football, and I encourage every young man or young lady to pursue whatever they earn. You know, but it's going to change a little bit because you got revenue share that's going to come in, which will kind of balance out the NIL stuff. So every conference is going to the revenue share portion. So you should see more competitive balance when it comes to finances. You know, I don't want to get too deep into that because that's an athletic director, chief of staff, head coach conversation. But knowing that that's where things are leaning, you got the rosters being trimmed down to 105. Everybody has to be at 105 now, which is going to even make it tougher because it's going to make walk-on spots going to be just like scholarship spots. So a lot of these teams that would have 120 and 130 on their roster, you only can have 105. So things will balance out a little bit more. And I think the biggest thing for us is just continue to recruit people that want to come to Tucson, Arizona and play for the University of Arizona and believe in what we're doing, believing in the culture, understanding what we're building, and understanding that it's going to be exciting year two, just focusing on what we can control. We have this thing, control the controllables. That's one of the things Coach Brennan always tells us. You just control the controllables. And as you can see in the background, you see Bear Down. Ever since I got here, I got on the plane today. There's so many U of A alumni. You know, they see you immediately, they yell Bear Down. And you go Bear Down, you know. So that's something that is real here. It's no pro sports here. So the football and the basketball rules here, men and women. And we have great softball, track, soccer, men and women. We have a lot of good sports here. Our triathlon teams, national champs. You know, we have a great track and field program. So it's a lot of sports here, and it's a sports town. If you want to come play sports and go to a school where the weather is 365, you get sun 355. You know, so you get a chance to be in the sun and enjoy yourself, chill, go to top 20 basketball games. You know, our basketball program is one of the top men's programs in the country, and our women's program does a great job too. So it's really exciting. You know, I've been to volleyball games, soccer games, softball games, baseball games. I go to everything. Every time they have something on campus, you know, we try to invest ourselves and invest that time in supporting the other sports because they support us too. And we have a great administrative team, you know, our athletic director and our president from top to bottom. They just support the programs here. So we really enjoy playing here for the University of Arizona. And we're going to make us, you know, have a staple in this Big 12. It's going to be important. This year two is really important for us. So we're excited. We start spring ball in a couple of weeks. And we have our spring game April 19th. So anybody want to come to the spring game, April 19th. We got our coaches clinic March 28th and March 29th. So come on out, coaches. Come get some professional development. Come hang out with us. But I'm just excited to be here.
It's when you talked about culture and what you did, at least when you were here at San Jose State, one thing that we noticed was the change of culture, like how everything from what it once was to what it now is. You know, just the whole change of being, you know, again, from we know what San Jose State was to you guys building up a culture of champions, not just on the field but off the field. How do you, especially when you go into a school that has a lot of prestige behind it, especially when it comes to, you know, not just, you know, football in itself, but there's a lot, there's an atmosphere, there's a way of doing things, you know, around that school. So it's like, how do you adjust to the culture that's already set, and then how do you kind of mold it to make it your own that is attractive enough for these players to want to come and play for all of the right reasons?
Well, number one, you always want to be your genuine, authentic self. I'm going to be me. As you can see behind me, my platinum albums travel everywhere with me. My Coach of the Year, regional plaques follow me. And I added a new one. I just got nominated. Well, I got into the Contra Costa Hall of Fame. That's behind me. That's just me. I'm celebrating life, and want to be an inspiration to others. I'm a young Black man coming from West Oakland, California, McClymonds High School, teenage dad. And I want people to see, when they see me, you can make it. If you have hopes and dreams and you focus on the right things and you surround yourself with positive peer pressure, it can be done. And here at U of A, Coach Brennan is still being himself. The staff, we're going to be ourselves, even though Coach Fish did a fantastic job, taking that team to over 10 wins. They won the Alamo Bowl. He's gone now. He's at University of Washington. So the players that wanted to go with him, they're with him. The players that have stayed with us, they're with us, and we're going to do it our way. We're big on red line. That's our theme, which is 100 effort. You go 100% of the time. You just go 100. I mean, that's just all out. Everything you do has to be all out because you can control your effort. And it goes back to controlling the controllables. And we have this big old thing on our wall. When people get to talking, we say, prove it. Just prove it. You don't have to talk about it. And I think that's what happens with a lot of young men and young ladies. When it comes to sports, everybody want to talk, especially with social media. Everybody want to get likes and retweets and all that. Yep. But prove it. Just go out there and be your authentic self and prove it. And if you allow us to be ourselves, which we will be, you will see we're going to develop you on and off the football field. We're going to make sure that you come out of here, one, with a degree. You're going to graduate with a degree. And two, you're going to be a better person because we have Brooke Blaine running our Beyond Football program like we had at San Jose State. So we're doing a lot of things in the community. We're teaching people how to do financial literacy, resume building. We bring in guest speakers to come back and talk to them. They're doing internships. We're knee deep in our community, going to talk to elementary schools, middle schools, talking to children, reading to children. I'm going next Friday to the middle school right up the street and read and talk to the sixth graders, And it's just my first week here. I walked to that same elementary school and talk to the fifth graders, unannounced. It's just my authentic self, giving back and want people to get behind us. So I think the biggest thing that you'll see is everything is real and you don't have to be something that you're not. So if you come in trying to do what the last staff did, that's not authentic. We want you to see, Coach Graham did a fantastic job as the running back coach, but my last name is Carter. So I'm going to do it the way I want to do it because I felt the way I've done it has been successful. Look at Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Yep. He running back, played in one game, got ruled ineligible, couldn't play the rest of the season. Then he stuck with the program, got himself to develop. He goes and get MVP of the East-West Shrine game. So that's huge for him. That young man believed in what we were teaching, believed in the culture. He believed in the development. And he's going to be an NFL football player because of that. So we have some very good young men. Noah Fafita, our quarterback, not only is he a great player, he's a great young man. He's one of our team leaders, And then this year in the draft, look, we got T-Mac and Vic Jonah. They'll be first-round picks. So it's a lot going on here that we have to be proud about, hang our hats on. We have great alumni support. And I get a chance to come to work every day and work with Ricky Hundley, Hall of Fame, Chuck Cecil, Hall of Fame, Bobby Wade, Ring of Honor, Brandon Sanders, Desert Swarm. I work with them guys every day. And now we got Joe Salavea. He just came back. He's part of that Arizona culture. And just having those guys in the office every day, teaching you the tradition of what Coach told me, which is a dear friend of mine. He coached my cousin, Marcel Wade, which also played here at University of Arizona. So just understanding what Tucson brings to the table is a major thing. And yeah, I know you see my platinums. I see you, Jose. Yeah, my platinums.
Gotta get everybody with the
Yeah, brother.
comments.
I mentioned baseball. I said baseball. I didn't leave baseball. I've been to baseball, softball. I've been to all of them. I support them all. Baseball team had a great season last year. Fabulous baseball and softball, fabulous seasons last year. So I just love being able to support everything that's going on here. The sports is great. The people are great. They have welcomed us open arms, and we just try to pour back into it and appreciate all the support from the alumni and from the city of Tucson. You know, it's a great place. They love their sports. They love all the sports. But, of course, football is a fall sport. It starts off the year. It can be great when everything is going good. When football is going good, that makes everybody a little bit more happier walking down. You know, it makes it a little bit more easier when you're going to have dinner somewhere and everybody know who you are. You can't go nowhere. They know who you are. You get that bear down, you got to say something back. You want to say it with pride. You don't want to just be ducking and hide because you can't. They know who you are. So we love it. We accept the challenge, and we'll see better results this year.
I have no doubt about it. You got to start somewhere, and again, you guys, year one, building the program and just getting it to further and further. That's one thing that I've always respected about y'all's coaching staff was not so much as just on the field stuff, was the off the field development that you guys had really put an emphasis on, which I think is it should be something that players are looking for. Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's a lot of NIL. Everybody's chasing the money, chasing the bag, wherever that is, wherever they get their playing time or whatever. But you get the best experience when it's not about the money, when it's about that development, when it's about being able to find somewhere that you can go, you know what, I can grow myself, not just as an athlete, but as a person here.
I got a saying, and I said to recruits, not just running backs, all recruits. And I'm going to say this again. Don't let that little bag mess up your big bag. So if you really think you're an NFL player and all that, and you want to be developed to become an NFL player, don't chase this little bag and it messes up your big bag, because there's numerous examples I've seen young men that picked schools that fit them, gave them the opportunity to be developed to become an NFL football player, if that's what you want to be.
Yep.
But you can't chase what you think is in your face right now, and then it hinders your process and your development, and it clouds your judgment. And I'm not just the players, coaches and parents too. It's a lot of education that comes with that. So it's a very trying time right now in college football. You have that sports model. You got general managers, which I feel we have one of the best in the country. Guys Crowley, he's our GM. We do a great job with trying to balance rosters and all that stuff. And then we got Fletcher Kelly, our director of player personnel, as well as our chief of staff, Ben Thenis. So you have that kind of, it's like college football. It's like have that NFL model, and you kind of work with managing rosters and almost a salary cap, if you want to call it that, just making sure everything is balanced out and taking care of your players on your team too. The players that have played for you, how much do they want to love being here? We had a lot of our players that could have left, and they chose to come back to be part of this. And we're excited about that, especially on the defensive side of the ball. We had a lot of players that could have left, and they decided they wanted to stay here and give this thing one more shot. So we're real excited, including our quarterback. He chose to be part of this. He's the backbone of this program, and we're excited that he chose to be here, and let's continue to grow and develop. And we got a new offensive coordinator. Big shout out to Seth Daggy. He gonna do some things. I'm gonna keep it simmering right now. So when you see it, you're like, oh, Zo called it. He's special. He's special. Trust me. And I'm excited to be working with him. And he did some great things at Marshall last year. Took them to the championship. And we're just excited what he brings to the table offensively. And Coach Danny Gonzalez will take over as a defensive coordinator. I'm excited what he's going to bring different to the table. We still have Coach Akina in the secondary with Coach Viney and Coach RC. So it's going to be good. It's going to be something special.
We're definitely excited to see it because it's just the authenticity, like you said. That's one of the reasons why we love having you on and talking to you, because again, it just you get to know what at least what we here have been trying to preach out for a long time. It's not, just that there are certain things that go into this that players need to watch out for. And it's not just, the on the field, the stuff. It's go to a spot where you feel like they're going to help you grow as an individual. And that always seems, wherever you go, Coach, that's always seems to be, the message and how it goes. Because, I mean, you've dealt with a lot of young men in this game of football from all different levels. And now you have another running back room that, I mean, I know no block, no rock. We know the simple terms.
Funny you say that. I just put that on the board tonight, and I got some new guys. I got 4 new guys, and they was looking like, huh? I said, yeah, you see this? It was going over protections. No block, no rock. I live by that. You're going to learn this. I don't care. You're going to understand pre-snap reads and protections. That's just as important as running and catching the football. If you really talking about being a professional, that's part of taking it to that next level. And I'm going to go back to Ja'Cory and Kweli Conley, which was our senior running back, which played for me at San Jose State and played here as well. He's training for his pro day. So he mastered it, He's probably one of the best at it. And he learned from Kyrie Robinson, So I've been blessed to have some real hard-nosed running backs. Before Kyrie, he learned from Tyler Nevins. So just having those guys at San Jose State, building the program, being able to coach 2 of the top 5 running backs in the history of that program was special. And then Kweli came over here for the 1 year. And now we're just trying to build that thing. And we have a nice group. They're young, but they're going to get treated the same way. I'm going to coach them hard. I'm going to love them hard. Whatever I put into them, they'll probably appreciate it later, because I know in the beginning they're going to be like, what is wrong with this guy? It's called that tough love, man. I'm a dad. I always tell people I'm a dad before I'm a football coach. So I'm going to treat you like my own son, and I'm going to love you up, but also I'm going to coach you hard. And I'm going to tell you the truth. You might not want to hear it, but you're going to hear it. And in the long run, it's all about developing them off the field. If you can develop them off the field and make them better men, regardless if they go to the NFL or none of that, we don't even talk about that stuff. But if that's what you want to do, I think my resume tells you that that's a real thing, because of the young men I've had a chance to either coach or train or mentor. It's up there. I don't want to get on here and start name dropping, but it's up there. It's pretty high. And I could pick up the phone and call any of them young men, and they respond, and they talk to my players a lot, and I appreciate them. And I know the journey from youth football, Pop Warner, to high school to college to the pros. So there's levels, but all of them have one thing in common: tremendous work ethic off the field when it wasn't practice. When it wasn't practice, they all had that work ethic. They had that extra in them. And that's what we're trying to develop here. And I think you'll see the results this coming spring. And I'm excited. And not just players, coaches too. I think it's important that coaches take professional development as well. Our whole staff, we just got back from Vegas. I am the chair of the executive committee for the National Coalition for Minority Football Coaches, and we had our conference this past week in Vegas, and 90% of our staff went. including Coach Brennan. We did it at San Jose State. We're doing it here. It's part of our professional development. So I strongly encourage all coaches. If there's coaches on here listening, you need to be part of something like that. The National Coalition for Minority Football Coaches. You need to invest in that. It's a year-round, not just the conference, but year-round. We have all kind of activities. I have my Zoom calls once a month. We will have our next one on March 2nd. Yes, Gervais, it's March 2nd. She probably said, yes, Brennan was there. Brennan was there. He was there. He never misses. So March 2nd, Gervais, put that down. I'll be freestyle. So March 2nd, we will have our next call, our next Zoom call. It's on Sunday. And you got 300-400 coaches on there just learning about the game within the game. It's all about elevating and getting better, professional development, prepare, promote, produce. That's what the coalition is about. I'm proud to be part of it. I've been in it from the beginning since 2020. And it's something that's part of the fabric that we have here at U of A. Coach Brennan is a major supporter, major believer in the program, and we appreciate him. And we appreciate all the coaches that's part of it. And me just living by that, I want to be a living example of when it's off season, is it really off season? It's all about developing your craft and making yourself the best version of yourself. And I think that's the part that's missing. And if you continue to know what you need to work on off the field, that'll make you better on the field. So I'm really excited about this coming spring. And I know every coach on the staff gives 100%. So you will see a difference in the program this year.
Well, that definitely works, because again, I've seen all the people that you guys have worked with. We've definitely been following, very closely about everything that's been going on. We need to be able to make a trip out there to Vegas one year to be able to kind of
come on, man.
come on,
man. You've been on my Zoom calls, man. Come on now. Y'all holding out.
It's not for lack of trying, Coach. We'll get out there, I promise.
Yeah, we have media. We had some people. Off Script was there. Brandon Huffman was there. 247. And of course Jamel Hill. We have some people. My man, Mr. Trotter. I'm calling him Mr. Trotter. I have so much respect for him. Just being able to rub elbows with those people, and then of course, you see what she said. Come do a show at the conference. See, you got she's logistics. She the one runs all that. We can do a live. You can have me. I can bring some more people. Get Hugh Jackson and Marvin Lewis and all them guys.
Let's do it.
Do some cameos. That'd be great. Those they would love it. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
So where you going? Come on, you coming with me. We want to do the show.
And everybody can just be themselves. That's the beautiful part about it.
That's what it is. It's real authentic. It's very real. It's nothing about it that's as soon as the camera come on, I'm gonna change. No. This is me. You've been around me long enough. I'm not gonna change. And if I am changing, I'm changing for the betterment of myself in a professional way. I always want to be the best version of myself and continue to climb. And like I mentioned before, being a head coach one day is something that I want to be again. So I'm trying to learn from the best. I'm blessed to be able to work side by side with Coach Brennan. He's given me a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things to do, part of this staff, and I appreciate that. And I just think the staff that I work with, it's amazing. We really get along, and we come to work every day. You hear laughing, and you would think, are they at work? Or what are they doing? We have a great time, and we're gonna show it's gonna pay off. Come to spring practice, spring ball, spring game, you'll see the difference, and tweaked a few things, and I'm excited about this upcoming season.
Always got to evolve, and we see that happening with you every single year, which is always a great thing. Max, did you have anything for him?
I did have a comment back kind of the music guy that you used to dance with, LaJohn Walker. I don't know if you remember him. He was Hammer back in the day. His name was LaJohn Walker.
Was he with the first Remember, you got different waves now. You got
Okay, so this was
got
back.
the first-
This would have been like
you got-
in the this would have been like early 90s.
so you got the let's get it started. That's the first. That's 89. That was when Oaktown 357 and H Juice too big. So we came in. Our group came in with that group. Went on the Budweiser Superfest in 89, and then One State went off 357 and did their own album. We took over our group, Ho Frat Ho. We became the dancers and we choreographed for the 10-time platinum for the You Can't Touch This and all that. So we went on the Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em tour.
Okay, so he was with I think he was with Let's Get It Started. He was in the first wave,
Okay, and then after that, the next wave, with No Bones and all of them, they came in and they did Too Legit to Quit and all that. So they were after us. My last show was the Grammys, which was in 91, and then they came in. So Hammer always gets a wave of very talented male and female dancers, and he trains them. And I was blessed to be able to be the posse leader and was in charge of the training, and that's what actually coaching. I was coaching then. That's what gave me my buzz to coach.
Okay,
like if I can be a stage leader and write up training and do all these different things for these groups. These are grown men and grown women. It should be the adjustment to become a football or track coach, which I was a track coach first at McClimbers High School. It wasn't a hard adjustment for me. And then I watched him, how he ran it from the top as the CEO, him and his brother, Louis Burrell. I watched him, how that thing grew. So I was part of that. And I just kept that mindset. That's why we're friends to this day, being able to be blessed enough to be at a situation where it goes from where it went to at its peak, doing Oprah, doing MTV Awards, the Grammys, being able to do all those things, Billboard Awards. That stuff was a blessing. Changed my life, gave me a different perspective, but it made me want to go back to where I'm from, which was Oakland, and coach and give that knowledge back to the kids in my community.
And then is coaching the same universally? I mean, obviously different sports require different techniques and everything else like that, but is the universal aspect of coaching the same regardless of what? Because you just said you haven't been coaching football, you've been coaching other individuals when it comes to dance choreography. It's like everyone can be like, oh, there's a difference in coaching here, but in technique wise, yes, but is the mindset the same?
It's about, like I said, it goes back to what I originally said. It's about you being your authentic self. And I wasn't the best dancer. That's why I wasn't picked to be the lead choreographer, because I was the best dancer. I just had tremendous work ethic, and he seen that in me. I did extra. I didn't only just work with our group, I also worked with the background singers and Special Generation, Soft Touch, 357. If you go watch 357 videos, Juicy Got You Crazy and Straight at You, we're dancing. It's 4 guys dancing in that video. That's us. So the same 4 guys you see dancing on You Can't Touch This is the same 4 guys you see dancing in Juicy Got You Crazy. So we would perform, we would open for them, and then change, and then go dance for Hammer.
Okay.
That's just, big shout out to my brothers, Steve, Sydney, and Alvin. And those are my brothers, man. We broke a lot of bread together. We sweated on tour. Rest in peace to my other brother, Heavy Ho, Michael Sessions. We all were, we went out there humbly on a mission, but it taught us discipline. And when you learn discipline, you learn how to work with people and how to talk to people. So coaching is all about communication. Coaching is all about giving it, how well do people receive your instruction? Because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you can't relay that information where people want to receive the information, it's not going to work. So how you present it, how you carry yourself, how you treat people, it all goes into coaching. So no, I wasn't on tour thinking about coaching football, but I was reading football every night. I was meeting Emmitt Smith, Deion Sanders, Derek Thomas, Jerry Rice, you meet all these phenomenal Michael Irvin. You like, whoa, look at these dudes. And they dance one record and they tired. They out of gas. You be, oh man, we in better shape with them. They come on one song, you can't touch it, and they all tired. We done danced an hour and a half. So it just taught me just how structured, and these are elite athletes, So that let us know that we were doing something special. So once you take that principle and move it into football and track, because I coach both sports, I knew that it could be something special. And I was trying to find another outlet, because people say, how do you go from dancing with MC Hammer to being a football coach? Well, I went back to where I was from, and I took that same energy and I gave it back and gave it to them kids and wanted to change their lives and give them opportunities to get an education by playing a sport. I didn't get a scholarship coming out of high school. Like I said, I was a teenage dad, but I was blessed to be a member of Mills College Upper Bound in Oakland. And I applied to 4 different schools, got accepted to all 4 of them. So I was able to go to school based on my education and serve my children. I have 4 college graduates that have graduated as a father, and that's the most recently my son, Anthony Carter, just graduated from Cal in December. So it's a blessing when you see that, because they're looking at you, how you moving and what you're doing, and that goes back to coaching. You what are you doing, coach, that's going to elevate me and make me better? And even if you go all the way up to the professional ranks, they're the same way. Those guys are grown men, and they want to be taught, and how can they be better in that professional space? I don't want to be no NFL coach, so that I get asked that question all the time. I love watching the game. I love the game, but I like working with young men and women. I like working because I coach women's tackle football too. I did that for 4 years. Full-blown tackle with pads and everything. I was real good, successful 3 years doing that. When my first year was a little shaky, but my other 3 years made to the playoffs. I almost went to the Super Bowl for that as well. So I've coached both men's and women. And that was in my off season. That was in the spring. So it goes back to my point, professional development. How do you continue to develop your craft?
And then, we again appreciate you for even giving all the time that you've given so far, and again all the time in the past and everything up into now that you've given to us, even off the field advice, even checking in every once in a while just to say hi and stuff. It's been really awesome being able to call you a friend of the show. One thing, and this was something that I kind of struggled with when I was I started coaching about 12, 13-year-olds, because that's always the greatest age to start coaching kids. But how do you, or what advice would you give to coaches that, because you say to be your authentic self, and that means you're not always going to click with everybody that comes across your desk or on the field, or practice and playing for you, or whatever it may be. So when it comes to those situations where coaches may be having a difficult player, or somebody that it's just they don't seem to be connecting, like what advice would you give to those coaches who would kind of, I guess, feel, you know what, either I'm going to cut them, or I'm going to leave, or I'm going to do this, like if things aren't working? Like, how do you help coaches kind of get out of that hump to just kind of keep going in those situations?
Well, there got to be a 50-50 street as far as respect. The respect got to go both ways. It can't be one way. And you can't be the coach my way or the highway. That really don't work. It works to a certain degree if the player is wrong or the parent is wrong. But it has to be some middle ground in there, and you have to have some understanding. This is going to be a little off topic. I remember when I came off tour with Hammer, and I went to do some community service at Defirmary Park, and I was talking with some little kids, And there was one little kid in there. He just kept acting up. And it was all the girls and all the other students telling him, be quiet, stop. I said, why do y'all keep messing with him? They said, because he bad. I said, well, who told him he was bad? So I asked him, I said, who told you were bad? And he pointed to all of them. So bad is a learned behavior. And if people are telling you you're bad, then guess what? You're going to act bad. But if you promote positive peer pressure and positive reinforcements into that young kid, that kid's about 5 or 6 years old. So how bad can he be? You need to figure out what triggers him and what makes him tick that way. So it's the same thing with coaching. When there's a parent that's miseducated and they want to argue with you and act a fool, they sign their kid up for a reason, or they put that kid in your hand for a reason. So sometimes it's just communication and making sure you're educating them on the situation. If the player is acting the fool, I work, trust me, in West Oakland, California, Climate High School, the hood. Anybody want to challenge? Find me another school with 300 students, but also got 4 state championships. Not even counting when I was coaching, we didn't have the state. We had 4 section championships, 100 plus Division I players, including the most recent NFL player, Marcus Peters, first round draft pick. His dad, Michael Peters, is the coach there now, my best friend. You got to develop talent. You got to develop the culture, and you got to get people on the same page. And you can't lose your moral respect, but you also got to meet them sometime halfway to see what is the real problem. What is the problem here? Either you trust me with your child or you don't. Now, if you don't trust me and you don't think I can do the job, then that's a different conversation. Then you might want to take them somewhere else. But the last I checked, we're in a 50-50 agreement here because I'm with your child more than you. The average kid goes to school all day, goes to practice, comes home, takes a shower, eat dinner, and if depending on how you eat, are you a family that eat together at the dinner table, or are you a dude that gets your plate and go in your room? So the amount of hours, and then are you a breakfast kid? You eat breakfast together, or do you eat separate? Do mom and dad got to go to work? If you really boil it down during a weekday, you might see your child 2 hours. Well, I got him for 7, 5 days a week. Even on weekends, you only got him for 2. And if he got a game, you got him for 1. So I got your child more than you. So we got to meet in the middle. It can't be, well, I heard you did this to my son. Or I heard you did. Did he tell you why? Did he leave out the part that he did X, Y, Z? What little kid, and I went through this with my oldest son, you get the little red note on them when they act a fool at school. How was your day? It was fine. They're going to say it was fine all the time. But when you got that red note sticking on you, no, give me this damn note. It wasn't fine. You did X, Y, Z. But without that red note stuck to him, oh, my day was great. And when you get to high school, there ain't no more red notes. Ain't nobody coming home telling on themselves. How was your day? Oh, I got suspended for fighting. Oh, they kicked me out because I was talking too much. Oh, I had a fight at lunchtime. Unless someone's telling you that, you're not going to know. And at college, they're 18.
Yeah.
So they're really not going to. There's no report cards.
Nope.
There's no bell ringing to wake them up. You find out at the end of the semester that he flunked out of school. He got all F's. Did nobody call me? Ma'am, sir, who's supposed to call you? He know, but he not going to. I've had a kid go home, got all F's, go through the whole Christmas break. He didn't flunked out now. He went through the whole Christmas break. And some said, let me call this mama and let her know that he can't come back. Because something just telling me that he didn't tell her. This like 3 days before the break over to come back to school. This at San Jose. He wasn't here. And she was crushed. And I said, well, put me on speakerphone. Hey, man, you didn't tell your mama you got all F's and you flunked out of school in one semester? No. And it was heartbreaking because I'm like, you've been at home for 2 weeks. You know your grades. There's no report card, but they know how to log in and look at them grades, look at that transcript. And mom or dad's assuming everything is good. So getting back to your point, it got to be a partnership. We got to be now me, and he wasn't one of my running backs for the record. It was a kid at another position because I snitches on mine. I'm telling on mine. I'm snitching. You ain't flunking out on me. Now you quit, that's a whole different story. But you're not gonna get no all else and play. Because you'll come wondering why he's not playing. And you want me to tell? Oh, he gonna tell. Because he's not playing for a reason. Especially if he's one of my better players. Why wouldn't I want my better players? But I'm telling on you. Because I'm a dad. I'm a dad before I'm a football coach. And the last thing I want to get is surprised that my son then flunked out of school for something that was controllable, especially when you have in college, there's so many resources for you to be successful. That means he not trying or he just partying. He done lost his mind. He ain't never been away from home and he done lost all his mind. Goes back to that 50-50 relationship. So the parents, if you're listening, get a relationship with the coach. That kid that's giving you all the blues, make sure mom and daddy know. Because before you kick him off or get rid of him, in all my years coaching, I've never kicked a kid off the team. Never. I've had kids quit, but I've never kicked a kid off the team. And a couple of them quit, I let them come back. Because I was always of the mindset, when they quit, where are they going? To the streets? What are you doing? Because if you quit at that, you're going to quit at other things in life. So I had every reason to quit. I didn't know who my dad was. My mom had 4 children by the age of 21, raising all of us the best she can. We all were educated, but it was hard. And I'm from the projects. I had a kid my senior year in high school. So what? I didn't get a scholarship. So I had every reason to either quit or go to the streets. I said, no, I'm going to thug this out. I'm going to get a job at McDonald's and go to college and raise my son. And that very son that I raised, I graduated from Cal State Hayward, played football there. I have a picture with me and him on the field. He went to that same college and graduated on that same field. The graduation was on the football field, and it's one of the most best moments in my life. The same child that I held on this football field. Went to the same school, too. They call it Cal State East Bay now. Cal State Hayward, man. So to see him graduate from the same university, and he didn't play sports because I don't even have football anymore. He played sports in high school, but he graduated and got a degree based on his academics. Well, that's instilled in him. Education was part of who he was. So I'm very proud of him. Alonzo Carter II. So he had my name. So think of that peer pressure, what he had to go to. And I just encourage him to be himself. And then here come my daughter, Alana. She went to Cal State Northridge. She graduated from college. She didn't play no sports. The only one who played sports was my stepson, Malachi Miller. Played at San Jose State, graduated, and was in the master's program this past year. So all 4 of them have degrees. So it's a blessing as a parent. Now, am I perfect? No. But to watch them be educated and use education as a tool to prepare them for life is key. So when you're having them problems, you're thinking about these differences with these kids and they want to quit or the parent want to jump in and be defensive. Y'all not somewhere in there, y'all got off. It started off 50-50 when they gave them to you. But when you start disciplining them and sitting them down and they're not playing as much and they feel like they son better than the Johnny or whoever else, that's where it gets imbalanced. Well, why he ain't playing? Well, why don't you ask him? He know. Ask him. He'll tell you. He don't know either one. He don't know what he's doing. Or two, academically, he's not handling his business. Or three, he's just not giving the effort. Especially at our level. No one's going to recruit a kid to college and not play him. The biggest thing I hated when I was a high school coach for 25 years, coach, they hating on me. Who? Who's hating on you? Who's giving you a $100,000 scholarship to hate on you? That sounds crazy to me. And they would say it numerous times. And there was no portal back then. So imagine if there was a transfer portal back then. You'd have had kids jumping all over the place. You had to sit out a whole year there. I've had kids transfer. Some of them for the better. Some of them, they regret it. They grown men now. I should have stayed, thugged it out. Yeah, you should have. Because I didn't encourage none of my kids to transfer schools. Figure it out. You picked it, not me. I never picked a school for a kid because I didn't want that coming back on me. The key, and I hope parents are listening, if your kid's going to college, when it's not football season, can I live there and can I go to school there? Those are the two criteria. Not when it's a season. Everybody got nice facilities. Everybody going to have fun. Everybody got a band. Everybody going to have all the fun. But when it's not football season, can I live there and can I go to school there? That's what's going to keep them there. And that's what's going to make sure they graduate and get a degree. And if it's professional, whether in sports or professional in life, you've succeeded. It's that simple. And I just love bringing that message because it's not easy. Nothing's easy, but you got to work for it.
Yeah. And I know everybody that comes through your door is definitely working because everybody that I've seen that you work with, everyone gets better. All the coaches, all the players, shoot, even us, like being able to interview you and talk to you as many times has made us better and how we handle certain things with certain coaches and stuff. So, Coach, again, can't thank you enough. You're always a member of the family whenever you're ready to come back on. Maybe even if it's again for the 6th anniversary show next
Come
year.
on, man.
You know?
I'm gonna throw a challenge at y'all. Okay. Y'all came to quite a few San Jose State games. I need you to look at the schedule. Come on out to Tucson. One game.
Okay.
Pick one and come on out. I'll make sure y'all geared up and have the right stuff. Come on out.
We got you, Coach.
So you better look at the schedule. We got 7 home games. 7.
Okay.
So
we'll make the plan. It'll happen.
Make that happen. I ain't coming on here.
We'll be there.
I ain't gonna put that kind
That's
of
all
pressure.
you had to say, Coach. We're there.
I would love to see y'all so you can see it. It's home games here are fantastic. The environment here.
We'll definitely be excited to get it as soon as we get the schedule. We'll all take a look at it, see what we got going on, and then we'll definitely make a game down there. I mean, God, you gave us that ultimatum. I got to keep you on the show somehow.
Putting that pressure on you, man.
that positive peer pressure. I
Positive
like it.
peer pressure. That's how you like
it. Ladies and gentlemen of the Jaffo Army, once again, and always give him all your love. Follow him everywhere on social media. He's one of the best coaches, the best minds that we've had the pleasure of talking to, and obviously from what you guys have seen here, it's nothing but good stuff. Coach, once again, appreciate you for being on the show with us.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for the 5th year, and we'll see you this next year. And
come on,
bear down.
Bear down.
Yeah, all right.
Have a good one, Coach.
Have a good one.
This is Coach Zo, ladies and gentlemen, running backs coach and assistant head coach there for the Arizona Wildcats. Joining us now, if you guys are hanging out in the background while we finish it up, Dub Alvarez, the Prodigy, Jay Wizzle. How is it going, fellas? How we doing?
What's going on? Big shout out to the 5th year for you, man.
Yeah, so now we got to make a trip to Arizona.
Man, I
That's
was
guaranteed.
hearing,
No, he put it on us now. Like we don't have a choice
Ain't
in this.
nothing but a hop, a skip, and a
man.
jump. You know me. I'm always down for a road trip. I got the room in the car. Let's go.
Well, I will promise you this: as a former person that used to live in Arizona for a year, it does have some very beautiful scenery for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Been to Tucson, so it's a nice little city to go through,
Yeah.
nice and clean. It is hot as fuck, but
Yes, it is.
we're
And-
definitely going to take a look at that schedule,
Ain't
figure out
shit
again. If the Arizona ASU game is in Arizona or at Tucson, we might got to pick the rivalry game.
Mm-hmm.
Might have to do that one. Because I mean, I'm all for a good rivalry game. That's one of my college football bucket lists. Catch a bunch of rivalry games.
I think the 2025 version will be in Tucson, if I'm not mistaken. I think this past game, it was in Tempe, so you might be correct. It might be in Tucson in 2025.
Might need to make it happen then.
Mhm.
Definitely be able to make that happen. Because again, I love having him on the show. I would hate for him not to be able to come on the show because we didn't go to a game when we said we were going to. So we're definitely going to make it down there. Coach Zo, again, appreciate you, sir, for hanging out with us, giving us a full hour talking good stuff. Parents, if you're watching and listening up, honestly, he's one of the best. He's one of the best. Because it's one of the reasons why we give him all the respect that we give him is because of what you just saw. It's the fact that it's not just on the field. It's off the field stuff. He's trying to develop you as a human being, as a young man. So, he's definitely somebody, running backs, all the backs that he's worked with and have gone on, maybe they not make it to the NFL, but after, they're still well off because, again, he knows how to lead and turn others into leaders. So they got a great coaching staff, got nothing but respect for them. Coach Zo just said it's at ASU this year.
Yeah, I just
But
saw that.
he said it's at ASU this year, but we'll figure out. I mean, regardless, we'll figure out a game. We're going to figure out a way to get out there and oh shit, forgot to send that. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me get this to. I thought I sent it to him, but
Well, here's their home. Here's their home schedule for the season.
oh, it's already out.
Yeah,
Let's go. Let's see.
They're at home against Hawaii. That's the home opener on August 30th.
Oh, I like that.
Then home against Weber State on September 6th. September 13th, they're at home against Kansas State. They're at home on the 4th of October against Oklahoma State. And then here's might be one you might want to go check out. On the 11th of October, they're at home against BYU. And of course, BYU's coming off a very good year this past season. And then they're at home against Kansas. And then their home finale on November the 22nd is home against Baylor. But
against Baylor.
October 11th at home against BYU. Time to be determined.
I'm on vacation that week, so that's my birthday week. I'm on vacation, so we might have to turn up in Arizona.
Turn up in Tucson.
Yep.
But not to piggyback. But not to piggyback what the project said. Sincere congratulations on 5 years. That's a long time.
Thank you.
Proud to have been affiliated with you guys since 2023. Proud of the new friendships that myself and Mizzle have gained from being associated with you guys. And of course, JP, continuous prayers to you and your family, my friend, in this in your time of bereavement.
Thank you,
as
sir.
I've said, you ain't got to grieve alone. Your support system is here, so go on that, my friend.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, you thought it was over when it come to the guests.
Is that a red Mets hat, Matty?
It is an orange Mets hat. It's a spring training hat.
Oh, yes.
I got this as a bit of a gift to myself.
Oh yes, Mr. Met from Port St. Lucie. Yes.
The voice of the A7FL, the Jim Ross of the A7FL, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Matt Ryan. How are you, sir?
What's up? I'm all right. I hurt my foot yesterday, so I am in immense amounts of pain.
You're
But
not
you
trying
know,
again, are you?
no,
I was
God,
gonna say,
no.
was
I'm
that a foot
ready.
race?
Here's what I'm gonna say. If someone wants to give me $10,000, not to win, just to show up, 10 racks in American money, no Bitcoin, no eCoin, no shitcoin, none of this fakakta nonsense. American money that I could put in my bank account, and you know, maybe pay a bill, and I will race somebody. Just give me 10 grand, and I'll do it. 10 grand. 10 grand's the
10,000 for the
baseline
Matt
for a
Ryan
marathon.
Foundation to get him to race again. This is going to be like our
There are so many other
like Rich
things that you can
Eisen.
raise money for.
It'll be
Yes,
like-
yes. It goes to instead of it going towards charities and children and helping people, it goes towards paying my student loan debt.
It's helping somebody. It's helping.
Yes,
people.
it's helping New York University. I don't know if you guys really want to help NYU, but go Violets.
Where Theodore Huxtable graduated college from on the Cosby Show. Absolutely.
Oh fuck! Oh God, no! Oh wait, no, wait, no. Wait, it was a character. Whatever.
Yes, it was a character.
Let's
Yeah.
talk football. Let's not talk about canceled sitcom stars and people from the 1980s.
But it was
So
a
yeah,
great
we got
decade for
football in a
wrestling.
couple of weeks.
Oh yeah.
It was great decade for craven capitalism, wrestling, and you know, if you love Coke.
The white girl, EJ. Not
Boy.
not my background.
That's why I love, because boy, this show about to take a turn. You know me, boy. I love a good troll.
Yeah, you do. In the worst way.
Bat, since the last time we talked to you a couple of weeks ago, you know, obviously, there's been moves and stuff that have been happening in the A7. You're seeing everybody's ramping up, getting their training in. At least from what you've seen, has there been much of a change in the thought process of how you're seeing things going down for this coming up year for the A7?
I think it's one of the more wide open years in terms of everybody kind of knows who the top 2 or 3 teams are in the league. I think as we get deeper and deeper and closer to the season, when we start seeing these rosters get filled out, that's going to answer a lot of questions. To say that the Virginia Heathens are going to fill a really interesting space in the Northeast, I think is a given. They picked up James Mitchell, formerly of the Octane, and they have some really solid players. It looks like we're going to see some pretty solid guys coming out of the Hawks. I'm looking at some of the people on that roster right now. I think that however the schedule comes out, the final schedule for this season, because we're still seeing players sign up. We're still seeing teams form and develop. Nothing's really locked, I would say, until the start of March. But I feel like the top seeds in the East and West are going to be the top 2 teams that made it to the championship last year. But 2 on down in both conferences are really interesting questions to me. Because the Force are making a lot of moves, Dub. I know you talked about it with Corey and the guys on the other side of the ball last week. Picking up Savion Cunningham is one of the smartest moves. Like, he's the guy to get.
Yeah.
Because the fact that Shepard jumped back after being the guy for Sick With It, in my opinion, there's a vacuum there in that 2 spot, whether or not it's the Force or Sick With It. I don't know if any other teams in the West are going to make that push to try to get into that 2 spot. I think the battle for 2 and 3 is going to be really tough. And whoever walks into that 4 spot is going to be dealing with a world of hurt. However, I think it's 2 teams from the top tier and 2 teams from the bottom tier in Vegas will be making the playoffs, or however you guys are structuring it out there. That's going to be a really interesting layout, and I think it's going to make it a lot tougher on whoever makes it to the Final Four, because that Final Four, if it's structured the way that we've all heard, and it's coast against coast, the what ifs and what could be, I think it leads us to chalk. But I think the West 1 seed against the East 2 seed could be one of the best games in A7FL history.
If it's
And
playing out,
that's a lot to chew from. That really is.
From the last season, like, you had the BIC and U games have always been, if not interesting, they've been compelling or classic games. Obviously, the championship coming down to the final plays.
Yep.
The Animal BIC game where they scored more points than anybody in the history of God in football. And if the schedule takes shape where we see Cincinnati and Indianapolis coming to Baltimore, coming to New Jersey, and the other way around, seeing David Tender and Sterry Codrington hypothetically in these locations, that's a lot of fun football. Watching Sterry Codrington run on that turf in Indianapolis, or seeing how these defenses, and I've been talking with coaches across the league the last couple of weeks, and I'm hearing a lot of stuff. The QC Crush are making a huge push. I think they're going for D1 starters. They're trying to make a pull for that. And when you have potentially Keno Thomas coming back, when you have potentially Seth Chambers on that team, and you have a lot of weapons, I know that the Pat is who gives a shit about the Midwest, but I think that they're gonna create some problems for some teams. I don't know if they're gonna beat the Watchmen or the Animals or the U or the BIC, but we saw how Covington gave a less than healthy U a run for their money, even though the Heists were down a few guys. Like,
Yeah.
I think that this season we're gonna start to see what the next 5 years of this league look like, and I think it's gonna be more teams like this, where it's the best of the best of the best, and starting to form out. Hello, small child. Hello. But when you look at how this league has been progressing, I think we're reaching a real fracture point to how this game is taken. Like, I'm getting people sending me messages about Fox Soul, because we were on Fox Soul tonight. Animals VIC was on Fox Soul tonight. We're going to have some really cool announcements coming soon about Texas. We're gonna the A7FL is coming to Texas in some way. I'm not gonna give away what it is, but you'll be able to watch the
A7FL. Don't let me go into
A7.
A7.
You will have. There will be more ways every Sunday to watch the A7FL than ever before on amazing platforms.
I was trying to watch the A7 on Fox Soul because I seen it came on. I was like, "Oh snap, the A7 is on!" And Bretta has some singing show on there.
That could just be a programming problem on their end.
Yeah.
Also, that could have been our secret singer pilot. We actually filmed during the off season. We don't have the same, budget as the Masked Singer, so it was mainly duct tape and a dream. But we got some stuff figured out. Corey in the
Masked Singer would be.
Corey in a ball gown made of all penalty flags was some of by far.
Stop it!
It was like the Met Gala. Just the ingenuity and the the stitching. Like, you would expect a guy who's been tackled more times than I've seen sunrises, not have the ability to do intricate beadwork, but fuck me. Corey Hammond can seam, brother. He can throw a seam and he can do some steaming.
Hey, he'll try.
Oh, yes, he will. There's a podcast that I got a Facebook invite, and y'all are part of the A7FL podcasting council. I'd say representatives of some of the 5 families of the A7FL podcasting universe are here.
Sure.
I got an invite for a podcast called the 3 and 1 podcast.
3 and 1.
3 and 1.
Not
And
the 3
I
on
was
1, the 3 and
not
1.
the 3. No. It was that just that, as Robert Van Winkle said on MTV many moons ago, just that itty bitty change, and that's all there is.
Oh yes, the dings. Yes.
But we will not be bringing the 3-on-1 back this season. Every week, we might do one-off episodes every once in a while, but Corey is full-time with the, he's going to be quarterbacking. We all have jobs and responsibilities. So trying to find time to do the 3-on-1 every week. We love doing the show. It's just, there's something else that we're developing for the A7FL that we'll announce soon. And that will be replacing that. And you will be able to see that more places than just YouTube.
Nice.
Works.
So
that works. There's always a plan B. There's always a plan B. No, but when you guys get together and stuff, it's always a good show. So whenever you guys get to do those one-offs and everything, that's going to be must-see television, especially for the league. I did want to ask you, so David Tender. Now, this is one of the, I was thinking about it the other day when I'm watching highlights and all the talk that's been going on about him. How real is the hype, and how much of it needs to settle down, and he needs to prove just a little bit more before we start putting him on that pedestal?
did y'all watch what he did last year?
I did.
I'm not denying anything that he did last year.
So why do the Animals got better. They got Omari Thomas. They're adding weapons. I think they got Trey Baskerville on their defense.
Oh boy.
Didn't hear that.
Yeah, if they have Trey Baskerville on that line, yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Oh,
Now,
okay.
That's going to make things very interesting.
Very.
My thought that the Animals may finish the number 2 team in the East actually might happen now that you just said that.
So Huff is healthy. I've been talking with Huff, and whether or not this is his last season, you don't know. And football players are going to play football until they can't play football no more.
Facts.
It will be interesting to see what those other pieces do. Jason Sisson won't be on the U. This year, he went back to the BIC. The BIC have a lot of great weapons, especially on defense. They poached some of the best players on. They've got both Ramadan brothers. Kevin White will be coming back. Tyler Affa will be coming back. A lot of those guys are coming back. And I think up until March 16th, we're going to see a lot of interesting conversations. And whether or not the Watchmen can make that run. Because we've been waiting from the Rare Breed in 2022 up until the Watchmen over these last couple of seasons. We've been waiting for Baltimore to show us what they showed us in 2018, where they took the league over the year before I got there. Got to the A7FL. Baltimore ran the table. It was a Baltimore versus Baltimore championship. Only time in the league history that's happened. This Watchmen team is going to be deep. It's got allegedly everybody's going home. But whether or not that materializes into them being the second seed is anybody's guess. Because if they're able to keep the consistency and keep themselves in check and keep them to the standard that got them really deep in 2022 and 2023,
correct.
They knocked on the door a couple times.
Yeah.
It's just whether or not they're going to be the team making the trip across country or not. Because them against the Force or Sick with It is a really interesting matchup to me. Or Quattro Huffin trying to... Quattro Huffin playing in Bullhead theoretically, would probably be a full circle moment for the A7. Or any of the original Northeast clubs touching down there. It'll be surreal. I am doing my best to make sure we're in the building for those games, because the last time we were there, that atmosphere was
insane.
Man,
I've been in some places for some shit in my life. I've been in Madison Square Garden when a world heavyweight title has changed hands in both wrestling and in boxing. I've seen Alfonso Soriano nearly get killed by Troy Percival at a Yankee Angel baseball playoff game in 2002. And I cannot explain all of the emotions that game and that weekend brought out of all of us. But to see those teams in that setting is probably the ideal version of A7FL football. Maybe with better visuals, maybe not just a field house, but I feel like the thing that makes us different is the disparate play styles, the different mentalities, the different ways of going about it, and the shit talk. I just watched season 3 of Shoresy today, marathon the whole thing while sitting on my couch after work. And the similarities between those guys and our players, it's a one-to-one thing. And it's because we love this shit so much. Like, this is a thing that the tangible reward isn't financial. The tangible reward is the fact that we get to do it. This is a pain in the ass in a lot of ways, and I'm sorry for taking over y'all's show. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see what the fuck happens. What are y'all predicting? Like, Doug, is it chalk? Is it chalk for you?
For me, I am really anticipating to see if the Animals can take that next step and jump into that BICU tier, and perhaps, to quote, Street Fighter, here comes a new challenger. That's one of the epic storylines that I'm looking forward to seeing. And then out here in the West, there's a lot of changes with Sick. What kind of Sick with a team are we going to see? The additions the Force have added. Can they get back into that tier as they were back in their first season back in 2022? Obviously, looking to see what you just said. Can the Watchmen finally put it together? And will we see a fully, staffed Nightcrawlers team? Because you can never forget about them. There's a lot of intangibles, a lot of storylines, if you will, for lack of a better term, that are just waiting to be unleashed on the 16th of March. But for me, it's really, can the Animals become that new challenger, and knock out the door and try to sit at the table with the UNBIC is something that I really am looking forward to seeing starting March 16th.
I think it comes down to a question of depth. I think depth is going to be the thing that the BIC had it. The thing that made the U the best team in the A7FL is that they had just an army of bodies ready to go at any given time that could do literally anything they needed them to do on the field. And the Animals just need the guys on defense who can be there for them consistently and make sure that they're able to keep pressure on guys like Sterry and Huff. They're going to be playing these guys once in the regular season and maybe again in the playoffs. Yeah. You're going to need those guys to show up that early and ready to work, because they're going to be running around all fucking game.
This at least how everything is playing out, the way the conversations have been going, the way the moves have been going. Like you said, the amount of storylines that are out there right now, it has the league at a pinnacle moment where you have this collision of so many different things that could happen. And every single one of these storylines are vital to the growth of this league. What happens with these storylines are going to further grow like the history behind it, but then catapult it into what we're seeing that it could become.
It's a crossroads. It really is a crossroads for a lot of teams. Like the Insomniacs going for a three-peat, something we've never seen, whether we're in the big league or in our league. And that's plausible. Like we've seen them, like no one can take that team for granted. No one can look at them as anything but the defending national champions back to back. You can argue all day long about if, could, what, should, I was there, game happened, guys in the black jerseys won. That's what happened.
In dramatic fashion.
You're telling me.
The championship seems to be getting better and better when it comes to dramatic fashion every single year in the last 5 years. It has been insane.
The last 3 seasons have tested my mental and physical health. Last year, I think after the champion, I forget what it was. I almost passed out on the air last year at least twice. At least twice, I've almost passed out on the air.
Rob literally walked out of the booth when the Donnie Lions return happened.
Oh no! Like I was full blown cramping during a game, and I could not stand. I almost lied on the floor during the fourth quarter of a game, and my body was giving the fuck out, boys. Because you're in that box for 9 hours. You are sitting in a fucking trailer in the sky at the top of a stadium that the ghost of Lee Mazzilli's grandfather did spring training in. Like that, the Yankees did spring training there during the war. That's the claim to fame for Asbury Park Stadium.
You went there for 9 hours.
Asbury Park.
We got 3 games, bro. Like I leave my house, before we moved to this new model, I was leaving my house 7 a.m., not getting home until 10, 11.
Yeah.
We'd show up, we set up, like, our crew sets up the cameras, sets up the wires, we run cable, we set up our tech. Like, it's not like dudes are showing up and doing it for us. We got to do it our damn selves. This is DIY, pal.
Yeah.
This is us trying to figure out how the hell do we get television out. Like we're building a television studio in this production trailer while running football games.
And broadcasting football games and commentating football games.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons why the A7 is unlike any.
Just this past season, like we weren't even in a box at Matter. We were literally on.
Yeah,
the
I don't know how the hell y'all did that. I was impressed with the ability of being able to. Mel's a fucking man.
Mel does.
I love Mel.
Mel does some amazing stuff, which is why I call him the hardest working man in sports. I mean, the man is getting. I mean, the camera views you're getting is literally on top of a doggone ladder, for crying out loud.
And hopefully this year we're not shooting it in, some sort of Rube Goldberg machine. I do believe they made a lot of upgrades to Matter Academy, it'll look great.
No, the booth is very nice. The scoreboard's nice. Haven't been inside the booth, but I've seen videos and photos of it. So I mean, it's Matter looks very, very accommodating for this upcoming season, and definitely looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to saying balls in 35 as opposed to I think we're at the 30. No, we're at the 27. Okay, 2nd down and 2.
Yeah, if you watch football on television on the major networks, for the most part, they usually have a spotter.
Mm-hmm.
It is me watching me, Corey, and Rob watching a monitor that is like yay big. We're splitting a monitor that is that big. I have a laptop to my left that has our YouTube chat, the Creator Sports Network Twitch chat, the Discord chat for production, the Slack chat for the A7FL, and then my own text messages, because I will be messaged by 85 million people when something goes wrong or for pieces of information. If I need stats, if I need information, thank God I have
Sorry for bothering you,
ADHD.
Matt.
So
Thank God I have ADHD. Because
I
that's
just
the
did a
only way
game.
I can make it work.
There have been so many, especially last season. I don't even think of. I'm sorry for bothering you. Now that I think about it, like I put extra stress on you. I apologize for that.
There were people I know that, not y'all, people calling my phone while I'm on television. And they know I'm on television. And I have to look at my phone. And if you've worked with me, you know I have a creative language.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
when my temper, which has been formed by 5 generations of New York Catholic Irish repression, doesn't like to, I can no-sell some stuff until I'm not gonna anymore. And hey, Mizzle.
Hey, Mr. Ryan, how's it going?
I'm good, friend. I was just telling stories about yelling at people.
What's up, Don King?
Only in America.
Boy, that boy came in full power mode. Hey, to the people.
Mizzle
I'm jealous. I just get volume. I don't get anything.
I just remember when my hair could do that. Not anymore, obviously.
Boy came in like the
So
the
I'm
cinnamon
vicariously
stick.
I am vicariously living through Mizzle right now.
Hey, JP and Matt Ryan got some damn good hair too.
Yeah, they do.
Mine's in that ugly stage right now. That's why I got the beanie going.
Well,
I showered for all of you.
Join the crowd.
Man, who you telling? Boy, how'd I tell you? Come on now. Y'all know I had that fro. I had to cut that job. Boy.
I'm just
So
still
Matt,
not seeing
like
that can't tan.
so now, like with everything that's the coverage, the amount of different ways you can watch the league, the amount of different ways that you can follow the league, where do you now see it going for the? I mean, we've talked before, the little things obviously that can improve and get better, but the steps that the league has taken so far, especially with the marketing side of it, how much further can you see it going after this season or even during this season?
I've been working in and around media my whole life, my whole adult life. Nothing ever really makes sense in this business because you see something like product wise, it's like, oh, this fucking rules. Why isn't this, that, and there? I think the A7FL has the potential to be a true alternative and be a sport and be an arm of football that is unique and in existence in its own space and provides a new path and a new outlet for athletes who never really got that chance to play a safer, a more unique, and a more personality-driven style of football. Because I think that's one of the things that really sets our league apart and something that I'm a huge champion of is that we have guys who are just insane fucking personalities. We have Snag Sosa. We have people like Kenny Stansbury standing on the sidelines. We have Kenny Mack. We have, guys with their own nicknames and the way they get nicknames. Dude, this is such a unique form of football that melds in so many different personality types that the reason why I'm still here is because I see so much potential and so many great things that can happen with this league. And you just look at capitalism. The real enemy here is capitalism because there's only so many dollars, so many hours, and so many people that you can make believe in what you're doing. And I think that this year we're gonna convert some people. Like, look last year with Dan Giesling, like that converted new fans, that created new audience, that turned the Animals into a team to watch because Dan Giesling just kept talking about them. And this is a guy who's been on real fucking television. And it gives us an opportunity to expose ourselves to new audiences. And I think we're going to see a lot of that this year. You have to keep trying, and you have to build off of what works. If you take a look at our social media, the things that pop off are the wild moments that can only happen in our league. 3-on-1 throw-offs, wild touchdowns, the Willie Brown cam, where we just have a dude gunning it down the sideline and you just have his face right there looking at you. One of the Santisteban brothers flipping people off on national TV. Like, everybody wants it to be the good old days. Like, we all lament from when we were growing up as kids and Ronnie Lott and Lawrence Taylor and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. This is the football that everybody says they want, but first we've got to keep bringing it to people. You're fighting against audience habits that have been instilled since 1960. The way we watch football has been the way people have been watching football for 80% of the medium's existence. Think about that for a second. I'm going to put my media studies hat on for a second because this is what I studied. Like, you have to convert someone's entire viewing metric, their way they view things, to get them to do that. And we have a great following on YouTube. But the thing we need y'all to do is keep telling people, hey, watch on Fox Soul, watch here, watch there, because that's what's going to get us noticed. If Fox Soul or these different Fox affiliates we end up being on because we're lucky enough to get into these situations, hey, why can't we get on Big Boy Fox one day?
Hey,
why can't we show this to leverage something like that?
Get on FS1.
It doesn't. It's not one play. It's not one player. It's not one team. It's not one game. It's not one moment. It's the continuation and the compounding of all these things and all these people lifting their voices up. Like, we have a pretty solid echo chamber in the A7FL, in my opinion, of great communication of community. We all get along with each other for the most part, except when it's on the field. But off the field, it's a pretty good community of, like, people go on Instagram Live and bullshit with each other or do shows like this because we love talking ball and love talking about this stuff. And there's a community to it. And we feel very protective of that. But we have to continue to push it outward and talk about it to people and convert people into watching it. And it's going to take time. This shit doesn't happen in a day. The NFL existed for the better part of 40 years before it even made a real dent in American households.
Correct.
100%.
And you have to look at it like smaller scale, smaller brand, tougher act to follow.
Yeah, but even tougher act to follow, sure. But when you're talking about the entertainment aspect of all of it, it's just entertaining football.
It is.
From start to finish. It's something you can sit and watch and actually get excited about.
I love football. I've studied the history of the game my whole life. I probably watched 4 NFL games front to back this season. And that's time, effort, energy. Like, I'm a Giant fan. They suck. I'm not going through that. I'm not putting myself in a position to watch something that hurts me.
I felt that.
I'm not in my I'm not in my
I
20s
second that,
anymore.
man. I second that.
I'm 35. I'm walking on a bad wheel, and I already root for the Mets. God has done enough to me.
But you got Juan Soto for the next 15 years.
Yeah, we got Juan Soto and a really great team, but I know baseball, and I know that's not you know.
You ain't gonna tell me, buddy. I trust me, I get it.
Definitely get it on all aspects.
I feel like what we have in front of us is the opportunity to do something interesting. And I'm at the point in my life where it's either got to make me money or it's got to be worth my time. Because I have a day job that, you know, pays me enough to where I can not hate life as much. And I'm in a position where I want to work on the things I'm passionate about. That's why I do historically speaking every single week on my my podcast channel. Thank you. It's very sweet of you to say. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers.
If you love wrestling, please check it out.
Seriously. That's good
if you are a historian of the sport, check it out, please. Do yourself a service.
Those shows are the most fun I have because it's just me sitting in this chair for 12, like it's 36 hours from when I start an episode, writing an episode to when it drops on YouTube. So it's just me staring at research for hours on end, just waiting for stuff, like just trying to figure out the dumb, weird shit. Because there's always causality. And I think the thing that we need for the A7FL is that more causal moments that will really shift things ahead. But before I go to bed, because it's nearly midnight here in New York.
Appreciate your time, man.
Appreciate y'all.
I'm glad I jumped on to catch you, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too, Mizzle. It's been a minute.
Yes, it has.
I want to go around the table. What's the one A7FL team you're looking to surprise everybody this season? Not the team to win it all, but the team that the team like the Animals that shocked everybody last year. Who's going to be that guy this year?
I'm looking at the Force.
Are they shocked, though? Because they're the first Western champion. They make the playoffs every year. I don't think they've ever been lower than a 3 seed out west. I would say if they didn't make the pickups that they did, then they would be a sneaky team to me. Because there's a lot of – because Jaden Webb was a question about whether or not he was going to come back. There's a lot of – there were a lot of could-be's and should-be's.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say the Animals, and only because, I mean, nobody's going to be shocked especially for what we saw in that back half of the season. But I think they're going to shock people in the sense of everybody knows that they're going to get better, but I think what's going to shock is how much better. And I'm pretty like I'm gonna say like at worst they're the number 2 team in the East.
So you think they're gonna be you think they could run the table because they have to play the Watchmen, they have to play the U, and they have to play the BIC.
And I completely understand that. And the BIC, you know, put up 80 plus points, but they also put up 60 on the BIC. They're putting up, they're making teams have to throttle them in order to win.
They were the hardest out in the league last year.
100%. And I don't see that change. They're a team that is going to constantly keep coming at you no matter what the score is. And it's, again, they're that team, if you don't put the foot on the throat and keep it there, they're going to shock you, and they're going to come back and win that game if they're even behind, or even shock you the fact that, holy shit, they're up 21 already.
They're going to need to let that swagger and personality be their governor, but also know when it's time to just hold back. I think the one going full bore is great, but I think in certain situations the scheming on defense, obviously it's personnel. They need to collect the right personnel, and if they come out of this season beating 2 of the top 3 teams, or beating 1, if they can beat, I think they're going to give the U a run for their money. I think they think the U is a little more older and a little more hurt than they've been. This will be the, I think I'm trying to word it the right way. I'm trying to couch it in a way that's, I think the U are the most vulnerable they've been at any point in the history of the A7FL. I think I think they are the most vulnerable they've been as a team.
That's one of the reasons why I think the Animals are gonna move into that spot. It's not like the U are just gonna hand it to them. It's obviously gonna be a war. But
I think don't look past Baltimore, bro. That's the only thing I'm going to say is do not look past Baltimore. They deserve the gentleman's credit, because if what happened didn't happen, and we don't get the Terminator timeline, if we don't get the time cop scenario with the second chance for the Animals, what happens? I think that there's a lot of interesting scenarios that come out of that for the Watchmen. And I think they're going to be a little more I think that they know the score a lot more this year, and they know what's on the line for them more than anything.
That's going to be very interesting to see. March 16th, the beginning of the season of the A7FL. Obviously, we're extremely excited about it. Matt, I know it is late there for you, sir. Appreciate you once again for hanging out with us, especially on this 5-year. Good to always talk to you. And
happy anniversary, gents.
Appreciate you, sir. And we'll get to hopefully talk to you more during the season too. So get some rest, sir.
I will do that, and happy to be on anytime. Have a great night, gents. Always love talking ball with you. Be well.
Absolutely.
Happy anniversary,
friend.
The great Matt Ryan. Always great.
Hey, fellas, how long you guys gonna be on?
Probably for about another 10 minutes. I got work in the morning and everything too. But I mean, this has got have everything that we've had so far, especially talking with Coach Zo, and then talking with Matt Ryan. There's still more to talk about, like with the A7 especially, because I was wanting to ask you guys kind of the same question, and he brings up Texas now. And I'm going, if you fuck around and bring in Bevo, it's going to be a problem. I don't know if y'all want that smoke. That's a whole different side of football. I'm not sure some people are willing to go up against.
Well, but again, just the fact that you get into that market, and we know how much that state foot. Okay,
if you can get Texas to fall in love with your brand of football,
yes,
you will be fine nationally.
Oh yes.
If everybody in the state of Texas is talking about your sport, when it talks about football, hard-nosed football, the way folks down there in Texas like watching their brand of football. The A7FL in Texas, oh my goodness! You'd probably get at least 6 teams that would automatically bump that division.
Well, just look at let me just paint this picture for you. Now let's just say they do get involved. Don't sit there and tell me that you have the championship game in Tejas at one of those nice looking stadiums.
Oh,
I promise you that might be
anywhere, any stadium.
But I promise you, you might get the largest crowd ever to watch an A7FL game.
It's gonna.
I'm just trying to paint the picture, because first off, it would be a true neutral site because you're meeting right smack dab in the middle deep in the heart of. So it
Can
would be a
you
true
imagine
neutral
playing
site
the
game.
A7FL championship in Jerry World? Not that I would
Oh
ever want to
my.
step foot in that fucking
Oh
stadium, but you
my.
know,
For the A7, I might do that.
I was saying I'd do it for the A7.
I was gonna say the old Cotton Bowl wouldn't be shabby either.
Cotton Bowl would be
Cotton
good
Bowl will
too.
work too. Cotton Bowl would work.
A historical style stadium. I like that. I definitely like that. But I mean, even if you had to get high school or something like that, having it at Allen,
Well, I'm just saying,
having
with
it
the
at
high school stadiums, that
South
they
Lake
have,
Carroll.
you think it's a JC college with those stadiums that they have out there in Texas?
Some of them bigger.
And like it's a high school? What?
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Yeah, the biggest one out there being Allen High School, where Kyler Murray went to school. Like that stadium is insane. Right there on the outskirts of Dallas, Texas.
Ain't that stadium named after him?
About who? Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. If the stadium or the field or something's probably named that. He won 4 national titles for him in a row.
Okay, well.
Dang, won 4 in a row?
Yeah, he won 4 in a row, undefeated.
EJ, high school football is religion in Texas.
Church.
Friday Night Lights.
Kyler Murray will never have to buy a drink ever in his life in the state of Texas.
Nope.
Especially in Allen, anything that he gets is free. That man is a legend in the state of Texas. What he did in those 4 years has never been done in the state of Texas, and a lot of great quarterbacks have come from the state of Texas. What Kyler Murray did, we can laugh about his height and how he looks like a toddler running around with his parents' phone when he runs around with the football. We can make all the, the memes and looks all that we want to. But when we're talking about specifically what he did in high school, legendary shit. It's legendary shit. You know how difficult it is to win a state championship in the state of Texas?
Extremely.
And then 4 years in a row and do it undefeated in the division that they were in? It's crazy shit. It's crazy shit, but we also need to get the A7FL here in Northern California.
Damn it, yes.
Having the A7 for the Bay Area and Sacramento, like in the Valley and the Bay, that's an untapped market people aren't more aware of. You got a lot of really good talent out here.
Yes.
In Northern California. But if that Texas one, man, if you can tap into that market and be entertaining to that side, that would be the amount of opportunities that would probably come out of that would be pretty insane.
Well, I would say this though. If it was to come into the Bay, playing at Washington High School with that view of the Golden Gate Bridge in the background would be highly, highly epic.
I'm wondering when it could get to a point where the A7 creates their own, and this is I know this is probably going to cost a shit ton of money what I'm about to say right now, but essentially creating your own field in a sense, where you have turf rolled up, but it's in you have an official A7FL field. You don't have the hash marks and stuff. You have the actual sideline, the dimensions, all that. It's an official A7FL style field.
That would be dope.
And then having, again, you'd have to roll it out wherever it is that you're playing, but just the visual aspect of what that could do would be something very, very interesting. Again, I don't know how much that would cost to get custom turf like that made and then have to roll it in and out every day or every weekend that you had to play. I don't know. Again, I don't know what the cost of that. Sponsors, be on the lookout. Or if you work at a turf spot, like a custom turf spot. A7FL might be looking for somebody to get something official looking. And then you can be a part of history when it actually gets, be the first to actually do it.
Jordan, I am anxious to see them get back on the field after a year absence. I'm anxious to see how the Aces revamp themselves. Because, I mean, the one time that I did see them, they did have some talent. Even though Sick was the better team in that playoff game, I'm anxious to see the Aces get back on the field because they were the cream of the crop in the LA division. So I'm anxious to see that. To see them back on the field.
This is gonna sound like I'm talking shit, but it's a Northern California, Southern California thing anyway, so it's gonna sound like talking shit anyway.
It is.
SoCal football is nothing like NorCal football. It's just not. Everybody, what about Matter Day? Yeah, that's fine. You have one team. You wonder why one team has been running it in SoCal this whole time. It's because there's nothing else out there.
Which would
at least out here in Northern California, we've got
even a better way to have a Northern California division.
NorCal, SoCal,
yes,
division rival. Oh,
like I would like purposely fly home just to call one of those games.
The natural rivalries that would come out of that would be insane.
LA versus the Bay and LA versus NorCal and A7. That would be highly, highly epic.
That would be
Mallard has a tremendous skill set, Jordan. He is very versatile. He can do it all on both sides.
Yeah, listen to what I wanted to drop in. I appreciate you, Derek. Thank you, sir. Hope that all safe travels and everything for you, my friend.
No, the playoff game against Sick, he took one to the house on a 3-1 return. I remember it very vividly.
And again, you can have those once in these generational guys. That's cool. But one thing that has always been proven true in the game of football, no matter how many people you have on the field, if one fucks up, it all fucks up. One person is never going to win you a championship.
Nope.
It's got to be a whole team effort. And I'm sorry, but SoCal as a whole, you can have one or two guys. That's great. But as a whole, just doesn't add up like Northern California. Just doesn't. We can have that debate, all the stuff we want to, but we can give example after example after example. It's all there. Sorry, when is the state championship series the last few years? NorCal has been going into SoCal and just, we'll take that trophy and just run right back home. Thank you.
One question I want
in your home.
One question I really wanted to ask, man, I forgot.
Good.
What would happen if it ends up being an all West Coast A7FL title game?
Well, two things would happen. Maybe three. Depends on how I describe this.
Okay.
One, that is further proof, if not the absolute nail on the coffin, that the West runs the A7FL. That's hands down, that's what that would mean.
Well, I mean,
and
because remember, at the end of last year's game, you hear Rob Fabian clearly saying, Vegas is here, everybody. Vegas is here.
And they don't look to be going anywhere anytime soon because, again, it's not just it's going to be a tough year for the Insomniacs to get this three-peat. The Insomniacs are going to be nonchalant about it, and they have every right to be nonchalant about it. And that's a team that has a lot of skill, a lot of depth, and a lot of IQ. We talked about it on this show before. What makes that team so good is the fact that damn near every single one of them are coaches. They all understand the game. They all understand how it works. So when you get minds along with athletic ability, you get good football. And that's hard to beat no matter where you play. So, and that goes to the second part of what would happen. The East Coast would absolutely lose their fucking mind. It would be people would be pointing fingers, a blame game. Who let this happen? Okay, and I mean, and here this might be the third thing. Nobody ever would ever get to claim East Coast bias ever again. I still don't know why people are calling it that way now. I don't understand where the East Coast bias is coming from. We can have that conversation, but as far as what I've seen, the West has, and this is why I'm saying the West is that good, even quote unquote with all of that East Coast bias, they're still back-to-back champions.
Winning it on East Coast soil this past
You can't teach and beat talent. You can't teach and beat IQ. It doesn't matter how much bias there is. It's just like what happened in this last Super Bowl. An ass whooping is going to come when an ass whooping is going to come. That's just how it is. So I mean, we can claim East Coast bias all we want to. The West Coast has been defying that with these back-to-back championships. Now, I say it's going to be a tougher year for them, whether that means they have a couple of losses, whether they still go undefeated. A lot of the games that they have are going to be barn burners, are going to be wars. Because one, everybody's gunning for them. Nobody wants that three-peat.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
And two, a lot of these teams in the West Coast are getting better. The balance of talent and everything is starting to kind of happen a little bit more. It's not just the insomniacs and sick anymore. You have real wild cards in the West Coast now that can possibly have a chance to make a name for themselves this year. The Midwest, I'm sorry, we could talk all about the Midwest and everything we want to. They're going to have to show me a whole hell of a lot more than what they've shown me for me to be anywhere remotely impressed. Nothing that happens out in the Midwest is going to impress me until something shocking happens, like beating a West Coast or an East Coast team. And even that first time may be a fluke.
You sound like that Shania Twain song that don't impress me much.
It doesn't. I'm sorry. Nothing in Ohio impresses me. Nothing. Nothing ever has. Nothing ever will. Again, the creators of the participation trophy. You get no respect from me. You get none. You guys started this shit. Okay, that's why I don't like Ohio. It's deep. It's more deep rooted than that.
You get none and like it. You get none and like it.
This is why This is why the sports gods look at the city of Cleveland and go, you know what? There's a reason why you're called the Browns, because we're just going to be shitting on your hopes and dreams every single fucking year. You're going to think that you have a chance, and there we go. No, you don't. So no Midwest anymore. There's two. I mean, well then that goes to kind of show you. But most of those players who were in the Midwest and was talking all of that mess would happen with the chaos and everything else like that. All the people who were talking shit on the league, talking about, oh, we're not going to play, we're not going to be in the league anymore. They're still fucking playing. They may be playing in the Northeast right now, but they're still fucking on the field. But right now, if the Insomnia, or really, if any West Coast team wins it again this year and it gets to that point where it's two West Coast teams in the championship game,
well,
the East is going to have a fucking problem. And then on top of that, if Matt Ryan, if what he just said, especially with Texas, if that goes through, if everything with Texas goes where it's going to be a long ass fucking time until the East anywhere comes near close to sniffing a title again. They may have to rely solely on Florida. But they're not going to be able to come close, especially if the Southwest joins the West Coast. It's going to be difficult for the East. We're going to hang the hats off to them. You guys are the pillars of the league. You guys created what this is, and you're still going to be a part of it. But for right now, we're under a new monarchy. Like, there's different kings ruling the kingdom of the A7FL right now, and you're going to have to ball your ass off in order to take that from them. Because if you think that the Insomniacs are just gonna let somebody else walk in and take this from them, like this bit of history, you're in for a rude awakening. And that includes the East Coast. You guys already know now. There's no more shit talking anymore. There's no more, oh, the West Coast can't keep up, the West Coast can't this, no. There's none of that anymore. That you can no longer have that argument, especially what happened these last 2 years. Everyone was talking shit even after Florida. Oh, well, Florida didn't really have anybody in. Florida wasn't really one of the best. It wasn't the U or the BIC like everybody was hoping. All right, well, you got the BIC, and look what happened.
And here's the one part we're not talking about. Both those games, the Insomniacs were down double digits in both games and found a way to come back and win. So not only are they well coached, they have great football IQ. You have to understand, they have been playing with each other for years. They have suffered heartbreak losses before in all the, flag tournaments that they have played together. So they know how to. They have faced every possible sign of adversity you possibly could throw at them. They know how to respond to it.
Yep. And that's what's going to make it difficult to beat that team. So would it be surprising if the Insomniacs get a three-peat? By this point, no. It wouldn't be. So it's up to the East, it's up for everybody else to the West to really get better. Because again, really it should be crickets in the chat rooms. Until somebody else is holding that trophy at the end of the year, or somebody else knocks them out of the playoffs or whatever, it should be absolute crickets. Because there is nothing that anybody's going to be able to say if you can't get the W against them.
Well, what does Ric Flair always say? To be the man, you have to beat the man. And until somebody beats them, as Munchie likes to say, when money's on the line, until somebody beats them when money's on the line, it is very hard to go against them. And you don't want to make that mistake of going against them, because oftentimes than not, this team has been shown that they can prove you wrong and make you look stupid, and then they will tell you that you're being stupid and give no fucks about.
Well, shouldn't it be quiet since they came to the East Coast and won it? Shouldn't it be a little bit quiet now?
That's another reason why it should still be quiet. The fact that it's vocal right now at all tells me that, all right, some people aren't taking it seriously.
No.
You're trying to get into the heads of the wrong team. I'm sorry. Yeah. This team is not going to fall for that shit. Like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. And what's funny is all the shit that they're going to talk back is all valid, and they can back it up with facts. That's the thing that no other team can say on the Insomniacs right now. No other team, East Coast or West Coast, can talk the way the Insomniacs can talk right now.
Yep, because it was all about, oh, West doesn't want to come to the East, this, that, and the third. Well, they did their job. They made it to the East, and they won in fashion.
In a wild fashion.
Yes, yes.
So this is not a team that, again, they're not going to take it laying down.
Nope.
They're
the most
going
humblest
to
team I've
full
ever seen.
force. This is going to be an Insomniacs team that, I mean, hopefully, because I actually want to see what a full woken up, angry Insomniacs team looks like.
Well, not to mention Chris McWilliams. He's healthy. He's back. And I'm pretty sure he is foaming at the mouth to get back on the field because last year he was mainly coaching, but now he's back on the field. Lord
But
knows.
people want this three-peat because it's a statement. It's more than just saying we're 3-time champions. We just talked about it with Matt Ryan on the show just now. This league, like, there's a crossroads. There's a parallel right here. Right now there's a paradigm shift going on where so many different things can happen in this league that if any of them, whether they succeed or they fail, is going to define how far this league is going to go. That's how big this year has become. So now when you add that onto not just, when money is on the line and, being able to say we're 3-time champions, to be able to say we are the ones who catapulted this league into what it is. And that goes for whether it's the Insomniacs or somebody else winning the championship. Because it would be historic them taking out the 2-time champions who have only lost one time in these 2 years.
One game.
So
that's crazy. That right there is crazy.
That's a whole, again, if this Insomniacs team from start to finish just absolutely goes for the jugular every single game, I'm not going to be shocked if there's a 3-peat. I'm not going to be shocked if the Insomniacs are going to try and put 3 digits up on the scoreboard. If they, I swear to you, because the amount of points that they put up tells me, because we got to call it what it is. They've mostly been a second half team.
Indeed.
They're asleep, just kind of bend but don't break, but they don't really give a fuck in the first half. And then second half comes around and Scooter and Munchie and everybody just kind of looks at each other and goes, all right, y'all want to actually, we can try now? Oh, okay, cool. And then they go just turn it on in the second half, and it's like, good Lord. Just it's a barrage of just beating the absolute shit out of you in all 3 phases of the game.
The last 2 seasons of the Insomniacs as we have known them as they are right now, since Coach James Burgoyne has put this team together. And this is just the national season, not counting 2023 fall brawl, but just in the national season alone, the last 2 seasons, 21-1, 2 championships. 21 wins, 1 loss.
And y'all think you're gonna get into that team's head? There is nothing anybody can say to get into this team's head.
And it took everything that Sick would have had just to beat them by 6 in the 1 loss that took place.
Honestly, JP, they're already in other teams' heads. They don't need the other teams to get in their heads. They're already in other teams' heads.
That's the thing about the Insomniacs right now. Nobody can say shit to them, and they don't have to say shit themselves.
Exactly. What do you say to a person with 2 black eyes?
It's all on film. Go take a look.
Yep.
Who was holding up that check? You or me?
That's it.
Who had the W at the end of the game? Oh, you got us once? That's cool. What happened to the other 3-4 times we played you? Yeah, we let you hang around like the big brother, just putting his hand on your forehead and letting you just swing wildly, get a couple kicks here and there just to get your confidence built up. But at the end of the day, it's belt to ass. Like no team, especially in the West or whatever, have been able to prove that they can hang. And if you think you're going to be able to do it by talking to this team, stop. The time for talk is over. It's all about the time for action right now. It's all about the time for action. I don't want to hear no teams talking no type of shit. It should all come out on the field. All the shit that should be talking should be on the field when the action is going on. And no fighting either. Not everybody getting up in the field. It's a competitive game of football. Play the fucking game. You can talk shit and not get all mad and want to throw punches and all that other kind. You're not proving nothing. You're not proving a goddamn thing. You're proving you're a detriment to the league and the growth of the league. That's what you're proving. Because you can't keep your feelings in check. Play the game, talk shit. We've all played football. We know how competitive it gets.
Those are facts.
We know the shit that comes out of our mouths when those competitive juices get flowing. I completely understand. But the one thing you cannot do is let that take control over emotions to where you start doing stupid shit and doing, unnecessary stuff. The late hits, the illegal, all the illegal shit and all the blatant bullshit and then starting the fights and all the no. That means you don't know how to play and you can't play. Matter of fact, you probably shouldn't play. This game is not for you. Go play basketball. Go play basketball where all they do is talk shit and push each other a little bit and then we go back to our corners because that's all we're going to do. I've never seen a goddamn compilation. The only thing I've seen for an actual fight in the NBA was when Meta World Peace was in the league. Malice in the Palace. That's about it. Detroit back in the day.
Well,
nowadays it's all just jawing and blah blah blah, push back and forth. We're gonna square up, but we're not gonna do nothing. That's the NBA.
You were a baby, but there was another fight that you missed out on when in the playoffs when Scottie Pippen dunked on Patrick Ewing, and Scotty kind of put his junk in Ewing's face. That led to a benches clearing.
That was classic.
That was the old. That was the you was still in diapers when that took place.
Yeah.
But I mean, back in the day, there were some nice physicality back in the NBA. Of course, when Karl Malone.
Hey, how about before we get out? I really wanted to talk about this. So is this the NHL's new All-Star format? The four.
It looks that way.
Four nations.
Connor McDavid.
It looks that way.
Is that the new All-Star format?
Well,
I believe so.
In years past, they were doing divisions like the Midwest and the Pacific and the Atlantic and all that stuff. I'm
sorry. If this Four Nations tournament is their new All-Star format, I'm all for it.
It is.
I agree.
I am all for it.
It works for hockey.
I love
it. Absolutely works for hockey.
I loved it. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
It was well done. And the fact they let them fight, I like it.
Oh, within 9 seconds of the game, that was great. Three fights in 9 seconds.
We are literally fighting for our country.
Throw the sticks. Throw the sticks. Take the gloves off. Let's go.
Yes. Fuck the puck. Let's get it done. Get her done.
I'm for that. When you make it mean something, All-Star games, because look at the NHL All-Star. What can they really do? That was pure. You can do some amazing shit. I'm not gonna lie to you, but there wasn't anything to it. They had to spice it up. They had to do something. This Four Nations tournament, it's almost like Olympic style almost world champ. Like you're bringing it for your country. That type of feeling for it.
Yeah, I was gonna
It
say this is
matters.
way bigger than
This All-Star game,
That's like
NHL.
bigger than the game.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
this is way
mattered.
bigger
Play
than
for this.
NHL.
Yeah, it
And they
mattered.
was
You were representing your country. It mattered.
When you play for the Olympics, that's a whole hell of a lot different than playing for a regular club team.
mm-hmm.
When you're representing the country on your jersey, that is a whole different feeling. Can you imagine? I mean, they can't do it for football, but I mean, the Pro Bowl and everything is just dead for football right now. But can you imagine if the NBA did something like that? A 4 nations FIBA tournament, FIBA style tournament, instead of the All-Star game?
I don't know if it'll be the same.
You don't think so?
Nah, they have to bring in those FIBA officials. The rest we got right now is just too soft. It's too soft.
Having games in like the different countries though. Too. Like having all the
If they did it in
games
different
in
countries,
Serbia. Yeah, games in Serbia. Have you seen the videos for those Serbia games? For basketball? It's a soccer environment inside those stadiums. They're lighting flares, chantings, up and screaming up and down. Like crowds here in the US never do anything like that.
And
But
that's
like
for one
All-Star
reason
game,
why I want to go watch a soccer game overseas. They be
I'm
out there having the time of their lives at a soccer game.
when the World Cup comes,
returns to the U.S.,
that's
Canada,
a
and
bucket list thing,
Mexico.
man. I gotta catch a World Cup game. It's got to be the
Well,
right teams too, but I gotta get a World Cup
Well,
game in.
Gene's Stadium will be hosting some.
Yeah, and Gene Stadium is going to be charging up the ass, and I hate that stadium anyway. I'd rather go down to I'd rather go down to see a game at Allegiant Stadium, honestly.
Hey,
let's do it, JP. Let's do it.
I would rather catch a World Cup game out there in Vegas.
Well, unfortunately, Allegiant is not hosting, so you're probably better off going to the Rose Bowl to watch a World Cup game.
Hey, you know what? I'd catch one at the Rose Bowl. I would like a World Cup game at the Rose Bowl. That's over 100,000 people that are going to be there. That's going to be that's going to be a wild game there, Mizzle.
Well, the '94 championship game was at the Rose Bowl. Great game between Brazil and Italy. Went to penalty kicks, to which Brazil won. The '99 World Cup final, of course, when Brady Chastain took the shirt off and went nuts, took place at the Rose Bowl. So I mean,
I'd go watch a World Cup if it was the right teams. I'm not gonna lie to you. If it was like the World Cup final, and the Rose Bowl, you can check it all off right there.
Well, unfortunately, I think the championship game will be taking place at East Rutherford, New Jersey, at MetLife, but it will be on grass.
What is the infatuation with this stadium?
It's because it's in the New York, New Jersey area. That's why.
That's it? Just because of the area?
That would be my guess. I don't know.
I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that route. It's because of the area.
So many
and it's New York.
Oh, wait a minute.
East Rutherford sucks.
Vancouver. Okay. SoFi. Okay. SoFi again. Okay.
Well, if it's going to SoFi, I'd rather go to SoFi than Santa Clara. Honestly.
That's true.
I'll take that trip.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely would still take the trip to Estadio.
I know people are gonna be like, "Well, you were just talking about SoCal." Yeah, I'm not saying y'all don't build nice things.
Yeah.
Y'all just don't have nice shiny things to put in the nice big things that you built.
Although if I had my choice, I'd definitely go to Estadio Azteca. Just the history of that stadium alone.
Oh, in Mexico? Oh,
Mexico City, yes.
Now they get live up there too.
Estadio Azteca. See?
For soccer and football, they get live.
For a World Cup game,
I'd rather go over, overseas for a World Cup game. I don't want to go to no World game in one of these stadiums. These stadiums are whack for a soccer game. No, bro. Let's go to Europe.
to England
Yeah.
or Brazil.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, them
Bro,
stadiums.
when the World Cup went to Brazil, oh man, every time Brazil played, that was the loudest I've ever heard. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, but when Germany was beating their ass, Brazil never got so quiet.
But you know what? You're not going to see this in football, but those Brazil fans were actually clapping, acknowledging that Germany just kicked their ass. Yep, tip my cap off. You won. You were the better team. Like
Really?
the Brazil fans straight up did that shit. I was like, wow, okay, you're never going to see that in football.
All right, so
you do that out in Philly, you're getting your ass kicked in the snow.
So here are the stadiums. Here are the stadiums for 2026 for the World Cup. All right, so we have in Canada, BMO Field in Toronto, and BC Place in Vancouver. Of course, that is where the BC Lions of the CFL play over in there. In the United States, Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. Why? Jerry's World in Arlington. I understand it. Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. NRG Stadium in Houston.
In Foxborough?
Yes, because even
oh my god,
they played at the old Foxborough in '94. So
that's terrible. It's a terrible city to have a World Cup
Arrowhead
game.
Stadium in Kansas City. We just talked about Inglewood in SoFi. I still call
it Arrowhead. Ew.
Why?
Ew.
Ain't nobody in Kansas City knows shit about soccer out there.
Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, aka Harvard.
Oh, I like that.
But I still
Joe Robbie? Yeah, I like that.
All of the stadiums need to be in the Southwest or West Coast.
We just talked about MetLife. The Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia will be hosting World Cup action. We just talked about Jeans.
You gave Philly a World Cup game. This is going to be awesome.
Jeans Stadium in Santa Clara we just talked about, and Lumen Field, aka CenturyLink Field in Seattle.
That's going to get loud. That'll be good.
I like that. Yeah, Seattle, definitely like that.
Just because of, again, like the loud factor of how we can get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Santa Clara, like Jeans Stadium is just like it doesn't get loud enough. It's not like it doesn't. It's not a fucking football stadium. Like it's not a sports like stadium. It's mainly for entertainment.
All right, and then the three hosting in Mexico, in Guadalajara, Estadio Akron. Of course, we talked about Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, and in Monterrey, Estadio BBVA.
We got three big timers.
Of course, Estadio Azteca, their capacity 87,523. Of course, that is well above sea level, over 7,000 feet of air.
Those players are going to be running out of breath pretty quick.
Oh yeah. Drink your fluids. Monterrey and Guadalupe, Monterrey, Mexico, 53,460, and in Guadalajara.
And even though the World Cup is being hosted in North America, essentially, yes. No North American team are going to be in the World Cup final.
I can see that.
Probably not.
USA isn't going to be in there?
You can, bro, stop it. What? USA?
They will qualify, but it's probably
that's about it. Okay. They're good for group play, and that's about it.
If you're going to put together a Final Four right now, it probably might be France, Argentina.
You know how hard Americans celebrated just to get out of group play.
Yeah.
Like, you know how sad that shit is.
They're not that good
Like we
anymore.
won the
Vince
whole
They
Carter.
damn
always
thing.
suck.
No,
When it comes
it's
to the
not
World
that.
Cup
No, it's
stage,
not that they're not good. It's just sometimes they overachieve, and then when they're
Yep.
supposed to have a good squad, they
no,
underachieve.
the reality is what reality is.
Yep.
Soccer is
Okay.
not the same here as
Yeah.
it is
No.
everywhere else.
But
No.
It's just not.
Argentina, France, and Brazil are probably your top three, and then your fourth can be a wild card. It could be Germany, it could be England,
England,
it could
yeah,
be Croatia
Germany.
because Croatia made a nice run of this past World Cup. I mean,
Hey, don't sleep on
Anyone
Japan
in
now.
South America.
Don't sleep on Japan.
Japan made a nice run.
Japan is just disciplined. That's just how they play.
Well,
100%. That's why I say don't sleep on them.
that's why they do so good in baseball. Of course, you can't count out any of the African countries.
No.
No, not at all. None of them.
So it's just it's different. The game is looked at differently in the States than it is, around the world. That's why when it comes to the World Cup, of soccer, of football,
Of course, Croatia can never count them
we're
out.
the U.S. is never going to sniff top four. Never. They're never going to get there. If the United States ever gets to the World Cup final, something happened and we crossed into a different multiverse we need to be investigating.
Can't forget about the Netherlands. They're always there.
There's the U.S. is just we're good enough to get into tournament play.
Can't forget about España.
Oh, Spain has always been.
Can't forget about Switzerland. Can never forget about Portugal.
You can name more countries overseas than you can because nobody pays attention like that.
Here's the thing.
It's changing. It's getting a little bit better. The MLS is not the only American Major League Soccer program anymore.
And this hurts me to say because I have both in my blood, but it just always seems like when it comes to the World Cup, USA and my other half, Mexico, always seem a way to disappoint and break my heart every World Cup. With USA, I expect that because we all know American football is king in the United States. We all know this. Now, when it comes to football, Mexico be having good squads, but yet can't seem to put it together.
But I'll tell you this though, when Americans start taking it seriously, as other countries do,
They won't. Come on
that's
now.
when you watch
Soccer's
out.
been out for how many years?
I'm
for real.
I'm just saying. After a certain amount of time, when certain amount of things happen and people start taking different interests and all the things that's coming out with American football with CTE and stuff like that, people are going to be looking to different outlets. You're going to start seeing a boom in baseball more. That's why basketball is getting bigger nowadays. Like everybody's going to different sports other than football. So I don't doubt somewhere down the line, now shit, it may never be in my fucking lifetime. But I'm saying somewhere down the line, as the generations keep changing, that the outlook for the sport can be different to the point where, because we're such a diverse country, we have everyone from everywhere, that I would not put it past the United States, like if we started taking it seriously as a country, like at like a serious sport, and it's not a butt end of a joke, anymore out here in the States, then yeah, we're going to be like, oh yeah, we got the best from everybody. Now we're really going to start cooking because we're taking it seriously now. All of our best athletes are now putting their work into soccer. Now you have a problem. And not going to happen anytime soon, at least within the next 5 to 10 years. But that could definitely happen if, I don't know, maybe 30, 40, 50 years down the line. But it's just looked at differently. That's why it's never going to be the same. Man. went a whole different places this episode. We took a long one too. We had a great conversation with Coach Zo. Obviously a good conversation about the A7FL with the Jim Ross, the voice of the A7FL, Mr. Matt Ryan. Obviously Dub and Missile gracing us with their presence. DJ Mad Sticks, after having an eventful few weekends in time doing his things on the ones and twos, and then actually we're polishing things up, so this next Monday will sound a little bit better for y'all, coming for Indie Vibes with DJ Mad Six. EJ is there's a reason why he's a project. This dude is everywhere, all over the place, doing all sorts of things. So like, just keep an eye out, people, because it's the 5-year anniversary now, and it's been around for 5 years, and we're planning on a whole hell of a lot more, because there's a lot of things coming that we're excited about. That, I mean, y'all just heard it here. We got the ultimatum. We don't make it out to an Arizona Wildcats game, a home game this year. We don't have Coach Zo on anymore. I can't allow that to happen. My good conscience cannot do that to the Jaffo Arm. I would be robbing you guys of conversations of ones like we just had, with him early on in the show. So we're gonna fix that. Matt says always loves a good road trip, right?
Oh man, always. I'm fucking tired, man. I've been on the go.
I know. That's like I'm all getting to the point too, because I got work early in the morning.
Packing up equipment as we talk. I got a show. I got a gig tomorrow night, so and working the morning. I've just been like, man, that's why I've been so quiet. I've been working on music. I'm like, I got Royal out here running around getting the stuff, so I'm just like, man, I'm just gonna listen tonight.
Doing his thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us on this Friday night. It's the 5th year anniversary show. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us during the conversation with Coach Zo. Appreciate the conversation with Matt Ryan, Mizzle, Dub. Always a pleasure having you guys on, sir. For myself,
Congrats.
for the greatest DJ on the planet, Mr.
Night
DJ
Owl,
Matt
stay tuned.
Six, and the
Night Owl, stay
Prodigy.
tuned. Mizzle and Dub show's coming up next.
And for all the night owls who are going to be up for the rest of the night, move it on over. So we appreciate you guys. Love y'all. We'll see you guys later. Into another 5 years, gentlemen. We'll see you guys next time.
Oh yeah. Peace.
Peace.